Hello everybody, it's Verda here and welcome to another benchmark. Today I'm going to be benchmarking the RTX 3060 Ti inside of Dungeonborne. This game came out yesterday. I played around in this game a little bit and yeah, today we're going to be benchmarking it. I have the latest Nvidia drivers, so with that, let's jump on in and have a look at what we're going to be benchmarking first. So to kick things off, we're going to be playing at 1080p using the absolute maximum settings. Now, the quality preset says very high, but the very high quality preset doesn't actually apply everything to the highest settings. It leaves quite a lot of the settings on high. So I've gone ahead and manually adjusted all of them to very high. So we are now actually at the maximum settings in the game. And we're playing at native 1080p, no DLSS or anything like that. So let's jump on in and see the performance here. So it looks like here at the absolute maximum settings at 1080p, I'm going to be getting around 55 to 60 FPS. I've been playing for a couple of minutes here in this random mission. Now, I haven't really played much of this game, so I'm pretty unfamiliar with the combat. I've literally played the tutorial, but it does look like we're going to be sitting around 50 to 60 FPS. Now, it does seem as though when I'm using my staff and when I come out here, at maximum settings, I am actually going to be dropping into the mid-40s, which is not great at all. Plus, I've barely played this game, so don't pay too much attention to my gameplay, because I don't know much about the combat and stuff, especially with this class. I haven't played this class, it wasn't in the tutorial. But, yeah, I'm gonna say we're gonna get around 50 to 60 on average here. Does look like when I come outside, sorry, I'm still ill, but it does look like when I come outside, my FPS does actually drop into the mid-40s, which is pretty bad for 1080p. So, yeah, it looks like it will drop down quite a bit in certain situations. Now, can I get this fly out of here? Yes, I can. Come on. Alright. Let's just not get hit by that. Let's give him one of those. Let's give him another one. Oh my god, how did that not hit me? I don't know. Let's go ahead and do some combos. There we go. Yeah, it does look like it's going to drop into the 40s range, which honestly doesn't feel terrible, but you probably don't want to be playing at 40 FPS. So let's go ahead and turn on some DLSS, which is not something I would normally recommend for 1080p, but we'll give it a try and see if that fixes our performance here. Alright, so we're still at 1080p using the maximum settings in the game. We're going to be using DLSS on quality. There's only two options for DLSS, and it's either quality or performance, so we'll go with the quality option. And I'm going to leave the sharpness at 67%, which is the default. So that's what it applies by default, so it's going to leave it at that. And yeah, let's give it a run. So turning on DLSS, I can't really notice that much of a loss in visual quality. Usually when you move is when you can see, DLSS and so on, but I honestly can't see it. I can't see that we're playing at a lower than 1080p resolution. It looks perfectly fine, and now we're getting 60 frames out here, whereas earlier we were getting 45, 48. So let's go inside this part of the building and see what kind of frames we get in here. Yeah, we're up to 80, 90 FPS, so yeah, turning on DLSS is definitely the way to go. It's definitely how you fix your performance in this game, because honestly, I can't see the difference. Maybe in the fur there, maybe his fur looks a bit low res, for this lichen kind of thing. But then again, I haven't seen this enemy yet, so I don't know what it looks like at native resolution. I don't know what this enemy is at all. Oh my god, it does a lot of damage. It does a lot of damage. I'm dead. Alright, alright, so I've loaded back up into another match, and I've picked the Knight class, which is the class that was in the tutorial, so I'm a little bit more familiar with this class. Hey! These little goblin guys. Sorry, I'm still, like I said earlier, I am still ill, but yeah, it looks like here, turning on DLSS, we're going to be playing at around 60 to 80 FPS now, sometimes reaching almost 90 frames, so you can play at maximum settings here at 1080p with the 3060 Ti. But do note that you are going to have to enable DLSS on the quality option, which honestly, you can probably tell here it's completely fine. I can't tell the difference. I think it looks completely fine here playing with DLSS at quality. So I would absolutely play like this if I wanted to use maximum settings. So let's try out some more settings here. Now, just for the sake of it, we're still using maximum settings at 1080p using DLSS at quality, but we're going to be turning on the advanced models and shadow rendering. This is a setting that we're not going to be using again, I think, but we'll give it a try here and see if I can actually see any of the difference in terms of how it looks. And we'll have a look at the performance impact that this has. So yeah, you can already tell that we have lost quite a few frames here. Now, does the game look any better? Does it look any worse? Honestly, I can't really tell. I'm sure if you put them side by side, you'd be able to see the difference, but I don't know. It just kind of looks a bit darker to me, but I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, if you looked at them side by side, you could probably tell, but in actual gameplay, like when you're actually just playing around, you probably won't notice that much, but I definitely have noticed the loss in performance. We went from playing at around 80 frames in this place down to 60 something, so yeah, it definitely has quite an impact on your performance here. There's a little bit of a weird lighting glitch. You see, it's like we go out of the render distance of the lighting. Very weird. Oh well. But yeah, I wouldn't personally play with this turned on. You technically can. We're above 60 frames still, but I would just prefer just to have extra performance essentially, as opposed to having this setting turned on. Now, yeah, maybe you can see a difference here and there, but is it worth it? It's up to you. But that's all I'm going to test for this. I wouldn't recommend turning it on personally. Alright, and for the next test we're going to be trying out 1440p, still using the maximum settings in the game. As you can see, still got DLSS turned on to quality, because there's no way you're going to be able to play maximum settings at 1440p, considering we were at 40 something FPS outside at 1080p. There's no way, right? So not technically native 1440p, but still, let's give it a try. And it looks like we're going to be just borderline, just under 60 FPS here at these settings. Now, let's fight these knights. Let's give this a go. Wow, they do... the enemies are doing so much damage. That's crazy. Let's give these guys a AoE. Oh my god. I can still get hit through that. Didn't realize. Let's go ahead and just kill that one. Come on. Come on. Yeah, you can see the frames definitely do fluctuate depending on where you are in the game. Because now we're getting above 60 inside this little hallway. So it definitely does fluctuate depending on where you're looking, where you're standing. And there's no doubt in my mind, definitely places in this game that are going to be even more intensive than where I am right now. Because, like I said, this game is brand new, so I'm not too familiar with it. I'm probably going to give this game a go with some friends, because, honestly, it's quite fun. It reminds me a lot of, like, Warhammer Vermintide, or whatever it's called, you know? It reminds me a lot of one of those kinds of games. I'm just going to get these cups so I can sell them later on, because that's how we roll around here. There we go, we got him. Pretty terrible at combat here, aren't I? Hopefully, as I level up, I get better at fighting. Like, my attack animations are so slow. There is a weird lighting bug. There's quite a few weird lighting bugs. You can see like that hallway changes colors. Hopefully they'll fix that soon, because that does seem a little bit too close to be like changing, you know, for the lighting effects to be going in and out. That's really close considering we're playing at max settings here. But yeah, 1440p ultra settings or maximum settings. You're going to be playing around 50 to 60 FPS. It does look like we got 1% lows of around 40, but honestly, I didn't feel it. The combat right now is not the quickest. I'm sure there's quicker combat in the game here, but oh, we're actually dropping down to 50 in this area. So this area is actually more intensive. So let's go ahead and walk down here into this graveyard kind of area. Don't stab me, sir. Oh, you dropped your bow. Well, okay, dropped his head that time. That's not too good, but I'll take that chalice from you, thank you. Yeah, we're actually getting only 50 frames down here. Oh my god. Come on. Woo! Whoa, Jesus, you get a massive damage boost if you actually block a hit. What the hell? That's not too bad at all. That's not too shabby. Come on, power attack. It's so dark. Oh! Maybe it's a perfect parry block, I don't know, you know? Maybe that's what that is. But yeah, down here I dropped down to 50 frames, but yeah, it's going to fluctuate quite a bit, clearly, depending on where you are. So let's go ahead and try out some more settings. It's that graveyard area there that's 50 FPS, but we'll try out some more settings here at 1440p. Alright, so now we're playing at 1440p using the very high settings, which is confusing because the quality preset was on very high earlier, but as you can see, very high only applies two of the settings to very high, and then the rest are all on high. We're going to be doing this with DLSS because I feel like we're going to need it still, so we're going to just do it with DLSS, but yeah, let's give it a try. Oh, and I almost didn't notice, but it actually lowered the 3D resolution down to 67%, which is not what we want, so I'm just going to boost that back up to 100. And honestly, in terms of performance, looking at the graveyard kind of area, we haven't really gained any performance going down to very high. That's pretty surprising considering how many settings how many settings lowered down from very high. We really have not gained any performance. So yeah, we'll try out another preset. For some reason, using absolute maximum, pretty much same performance as very high. Very weird indeed. So let's try out another preset. Alright, so we're going to be trying out 1440p using the high preset. Going to increase the 3D resolution back up to 100%. Still using DLSS on quality because I still feel like we're going to need it. And honestly, there's really not a reason not to use DLSS on quality in this game. You really can't see the difference between the native 1440p in most cases or at all. And you just get free performance from it. So we might as well give it a go. So let's try it out. Alright, and now this graveyard is giving us 70 FPS roughly. The game looks almost identical in my opinion to the maximum settings. Like, it's not much of a difference at all. But then again, in a lot of games it's not really worth using maximum settings because you do tend to lose a lot of performance for very small visual improvements in a lot of games, going from like high or very high to maximum, but you lose a lot of performance basically. So in a lot of games it's just not worth it, guys, you know, to play at the absolute maximum settings. But yeah, here playing at the high settings honestly might be the sweet spot here for 1440p. It seems pretty good in terms of performance, and it's also pretty good in terms of visual quality as well. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use this heal real quick because God knows we need it. Now in terms of how my PC has been performing throughout this, you can see that I am always GPU bound here in this game. I haven't seen the GPU usage drop from 100% at all. Maybe you guys have caught a glimpse of it dropping a little bit every now and then, but I'm not 100% sure. And as for RAM usage, I am nearly at 20 gigs usage here, which is pretty high. That's not no doubt about that. That's pretty high RAM usage. But in terms of VRAM usage, we are only utilizing just over 4 gigs of it for this game at these settings. I'm not sure what the VRAM usage was at maximum settings, but here at 1440p using the high settings, it is around 4 gigs of VRAM usage here. So more than enough here with the 8 gigs that the card has to play this game. No issues there at all. Can I take any of this? CPU usage, however, is quite high. You can see my CPU is fluctuating anywhere from 20% to like 40, sometimes 50% usage, which is pretty high there for the CPU. And it does seem to fluctuate quite a bit depending on where we are in the game, right? And what I'm doing in the game. It does seem like the normal though is going to be around 20-25% for the most part. But it does spike up occasionally. Whoa, 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 whoa. God, this game is dark. There we go. Let me loot you. There we go. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for 1440p high settings with DLSS. Let's give another setting a go. Alright, for the final benchmark, we're going to be having a little bit of fun here. We're going to be testing out the CPU specifically. So this isn't about the visual quality or anything like that. This is just going to be about how much FPS can this CPU push in this game. So in order to do this, we're playing at 720p. As you can see, the menu is a little bit blurry now because of the low resolution. We're playing with the low settings, which does apply pretty much the lowest settings, I would imagine. Some games don't, but it does look like this one does. 100% resolution scale, but we're using DLSS at performance mode, so we're not technically at 720p anymore. We're actually at lower than 720p. And yeah, we're going to see what kind of FPS the CPU can push here in this game, just for the fun of it, just out of curiosity. So yeah, once again, it's not about how the game looks at this point, it's about how much FPS can this CPU push. And the game feels really smooth now, as you would imagine. It kind of looks like a game from the early 2000s or something, in all honesty. So maybe if you're going for this kind of aesthetic, then maybe you can just play at these graphics. But as you can see here, I am hitting the 360 FPS cap. Which this game has built in. You could technically go higher than that. I'm sure you can go into the game's configs and or config and you know, take the FPS cap off or just increase it. But honestly, for a game like this, why do you need more than 360 frames? Why do you need 360 frames in the first place? But just in case you did need 360 FPS, yeah. This CPU can do it. It can push those frames in this game, which you know, am I surprised? Not really. It's not that much of a demanding game in my opinion, and you can see the CPU usage to do this. We are at around 40% CPU usage, so pretty comfortable CPU usage for the amount of FPS that we're getting here in this game. I don't want to play too much like this, but you can see that the GPU usage is very low now. We're only at like 60, 70, sometimes getting up to 80%, but we're pretty much always at that 360 FPS cap. Now, I don't know how to fight a treant, to be honest with you. No idea how to fight this guy. I've not come across one of these yet. Ow, he has incredible range. He's probably going to kill me. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Whoop. Oh, didn't see that coming, did you? And I'm dead. Well, anyways, that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. Hopefully you found some use out of this benchmark. This is definitely going to be a game that I'm going to put some time into, but as you can see right now, I pretty much suck at the game. But in terms of performance, the game runs totally fine. Maximum settings does push this GPU quite a bit. You know, you probably don't want to play at maximum settings, but if you're going to play at 1440p, you can play at the high settings with some DLSS, and the game looks perfectly fine. It looks almost identical to maximum settings, and you're going to be able to play the game at comfortable FPS there. And for 1080p, you could play at maximum settings, but again, you're still going to need DLSS at quality, which honestly, from what I could tell, I couldn't see a difference between native 1080p or native 1440p compared to the DLSS enabled. But yeah, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for checking out the video. Until next time, take care of yourselves and goodbye for now.